can see it, Ukraine, Switzerland, Czech Republic and Croatia will line up here. 3 medals up for grabs, because we've got 4 entries.
So there are the Czech team. Kola Klashnik up in the bows on the right of this. Ivan Dovgodko. A lot of experience from him. Alexander Nadotka. Those two in the middle, 34 and 32. And Dimitro Hula in the stroke seat. There's this new Swiss combination. They've worked well, haven't they? Scott Berlocker, the British Swiss guy, Jan Plotchek, Neil Schneider, Maureen Langer. And these are all kids that have been motivated by the success of the Swiss 4 in 2016. These were the crews, the Czech, that won the demonstration race, but then they were disqualified for having an underweight boat. So Jan Potacek, Marek Diblik, Dalbor Nielda and Filip Zimmer. But they're moving fast, and the Croatians, youngsters really. There's a 19-year-old in the 3-seat, Roko Boksic, but Brokovic, Poljancic, Boksovic and Franz Suk in the stroke seat. Just an average age of 20, I guess, for this crew. Karlo Borakovic is the most experienced, having been to several junior championships, but Poljancic and Boskovic were in the under-23s, finished 11th in the double. I think they will struggle to compete at the front end of this. I guess it's a question whether the Ukrainian double, the quad, who I didn't think sculled as well as they could in the demonstration race, can get up to the speed of the Czechs.
Like you say, hard to know with the form guide from having had that race for lanes. Interesting to get disqualified for your boat being underweight. If you're ever going to do it, doing it in a demonstration race is good to get that warning. But here we see all the crews smoothly away in those lovely conditions that we've got up at the start of the course, throughout the whole course.
And there's a little bit more of a tailwind down here at the finish, just the faintest breath, but I think conditions are getting quicker. There we had a look at the Croatian crew on this near side. That reverse shot of Franz Suk, the 20-year-old strokeman. And there in the stroke seats, Marin Langer rode in the coxless pair at the Worlds last year. He's had to change with his partner Jan Plotchek, who was also in the pair last year, to row with 2 blades.
And again, similar to watching the Ukraine women's quad, they're at a lower rate quite early. Again, you imagine they'll be on quite a tough gearing, so they're going a long distance per stroke. Just getting solidly locked up quite early on in the race, just coming out here through a minute, already down at 37. A bit like the Croatians with the higher rating crews to their left.
Yeah, so I think, you know, the Czechs are going to be sort of content to sit there and hope their speed's going to take them through the second half. The Swiss, well, again, it says a lot for what they've done with their coach Ian Wright, the winter's training, just to take them through the quad of that speed through the first 500. But it's Ukraine that lead in the first quarter, just by the narrowest of margins ahead of Switzerland, and the Czechs right there. Great race from these 3 crews, Greg.
Yeah, great race from these 3. We had that nice look at the Croatian crew. Looks like the pace is going to be a bit hot for them at the front here. And yeah, I'm just wondering whether Ukraine will be able to edge away from the rest of the field, or whether that kind of more dynamic-looking Swiss crew will keep with them.
I know the Ukrainians have got the same as that women's quad. They've got that flow forward. They're letting the boat come to them, aren't they? And Nikolai Chiprina, their chief coach, former world champion in this event back in '91. They're just letting the boat come to them, aren't they? It's an easy flow.
You can see it's like there's a real press through the water, and then it looks like they can relax. Of course, they can't relax much, but that they can just sit, and that boat is coming towards them, drawing them out, almost pulling them out into the length they need before they place and go again. Just look at the Czechs here, yeah, just getting that bow in front.
I was going to say, Czechs are making a move, aren't they, through the Swiss. trying to take them back onto the Ukrainians. Little look across from Ivan Dovgodko, the 34-year-old.
Just look how strong they look in their shoulders in the Ukrainian boat. You really kind of see the lock up on that solid gearing and then keep it high in the shoulders and then sort of thump at the finish as the shoulders come down. Sort of, you can just imagine the kind of sound it goes doof at the finish. I'm not sure it's a good thing. It's very powerful though.
And through the 1,000 metres, it is Ukraine that lead from the charging Czechs. Yeah, that lock up in the shoulders you're talking about, low down, really getting that glutes locked on, and then the shoulders just sort of get pulled out. And
we talk about being connected, and they're just very, very connected to the water, aren't they?
So the Czechs ahead of the Swiss. You can see the stern of the Ukrainian boat. And it was very poignant, wasn't it, last night? We saw a photo. I don't know whether it was one of these guys flat in Kherson that had been destroyed by Russian bombing, and Kherson rowing club's been destroyed as well.
Dmytro Hula in the stroke seat of this Ukrainian quad. You know, he's asked to fill in the thing, where did you learn to row? He learned to row in 2010 in Kherson, and that club's now been destroyed by Russian bombing. It just brings it home. Pictures of their flats, their homes are bombed out.
Hula in the Ukrainian 8 last year, come into the quad, replaces Paolo Yurchenko. The Czechs are moving back on to the Ukrainians. Really dynamic move there. Looking across, you could see there Philip Zimmer, the 24-year-old, looking across. Czech rowing really on and up. I think it's been great to see Andrej Sinek, the former Czech world champion sculler, come back in as performance director. Ukraine lead through the last 500, but it looks like the Czechs are going to come through the Ukrainians.
Well, it's tight, isn't it, the way the Czechs have come back? And also, big shout out to the Croatians, who looked like they were being dropped early on. They're now up into bronze medal position.
You're kidding?
Yeah, no, they've come through the Swiss. Come through the Swiss. And look, bow ball to bow ball. The Czech crew have got that bow into the lead. I wonder whether Ukraine will be able to respond. Maybe whether they can use rate in the last 500. They've brought it up a little bit, but the Czech crew looking pretty good here. And when you see it, you'll see that the Croatians are in bronze.
So the Czechs have got that 1 metre lead. There's the bow of the Croatians, a sensational row from them to try and get the overlap on the Ukrainians, and the shouts of the crowd behind us as they come up to 250.
So well, here they go. The crowd are going to like this picture as you see the strokeman take a look to his right, looking whether they can get it up, whether they can get onto the stern of that Ukrainian boat. I don't think the Ukrainians have got any sort of change of gear to respond to what the Czechs are taking to them now.
There go the Ukrainians, just the last surge for the line. The Czechs have that 4 or 5 metre lead, but Philip Zilmer and Dalbor Nedia, gold medalists in the European under-23s, are going to repeat that feat in a World Cup this time. The Czech quad comes back through to the finish line. The Swiss are coming back on the Croatians. Well called, Greg, but it's the Croatians that are going to get there just in time. The Ukrainians take a silver medal, is it?
It's really tight. The Croatians veered out their lane a little bit. Oh no, it's shown fourth. I think it's photo finish. I think Ukrainians have held on to that, but let's see. Great race from the Czech Republic, to be fair, because the field got away from them. So we're going to have a look on our monitor here. It is showing that Switzerland did come back with that final sprint, and 5/500ths of a second got in front of Croatia.
Because they weren't in front when, I mean, we are literally about 5-10 metres from the finish line. The Swiss weren't in front then, so it was just that last surge. Oh, let's look. So the Czechs.
There we go. We've got the finish line on there. Clearly the Czechs.
3/4 of a length, 2/3 of a length, and there, Croatia. No.
Yeah, it's on the surge of the boat, like a horse race.
Yeah.
Going backwards and forwards, and the finish line fell in the right bit of the stroke for that Swiss crew to just get that bow in front and make it onto the podium. Disappointment for the home crowd. Disappointment from the Croatian crew, who did get badly dropped early on.
They did, didn't they?
Yeah. I mean, they were 3 seconds down on the Swiss at 500 gone, still 3 seconds down at 1,000. Then they were level pretty much at 1,500. So you saw how tight it was early on. But then, that Croatian crew badly dropped and then came back. I wonder if they had a problem.
Yeah, that's an interesting shout.
Whether anything happened just out of picture for us or whether the field just got away and then they came back. Nice little picture of the stroke meter in front of the
This Czech crew,
Czech
I mean,
crew there.
Nelda and Zima finished 15th in the worlds in the quads last year, and they've put in Potacek and Diblik from the men's single and the men's eight. You know, nothing special, but they've obviously worked with the coach Jan Navratil and had a great winter. See what it means to them.
And it's a good step on, isn't it?
I mean, they won the race for lanes, but this is the one that matters, isn't it?
Yeah, well, when we look at that Ukrainian crew, 3 of them were in the crew that came 7th at the World Championships last year. So, you know, being up there with them puts them around the final, doesn't it? Around final pace for the Worlds. So confirmation there, you see it. The Czech crew getting through, ahead of Ukraine, and Switzerland did just edge out the home favourites.
Czech Republic!
Czechka.
A new crew, a new combination from the Czech Republic, and a successful combination. Came through the Ukrainians. So Jan Potacek, way back in the single at the Worlds last year, now got into a quad that's moving much more quickly. And Marek Diblik, 22 years of age, in the Czech 8 last year. And then those 2 gold medalists from the European under-23s, Dalibor Nedler and Filip Zima, struck the boat really well, I thought. And interesting, biggest challenge that Dalibor Nedler said he faced was to defend his seat in the quad, even though he couldn't participate in the Czech trials due to illness. That's the guy in the 3 seat just about to get his hand shaken. So he's under no estimation. You know, there is still challenge ahead, and he can't take his seat in this boat for granted.
Yeah.